The BC government is threatening to crack down on what's known as shadow flipping in Vancouver's housing market. The tactic sees a property resold multiple times before the closing date. The real estate agent pockets big commissions by finding multiple buyers, each of whom are willing to pay more than the last. The original sellers don't get any additional money. Joining us now in Vancouver is real estate agent Adil Dinani. It's a pretty complicated bit of scheme. We just kind of sort of explained it in the first little bit. Can you add to that, or is that pretty much what shadow flipping is?
So perhaps it would help for me to give you some context on the market here in Vancouver. I think the narrative of our market today is very much so aligned with what we were experiencing in 2015, the latter part of 2015. Mm-hmm. It's characterized by extremely low interest rates, very high buyer demand. We're at record levels, and an anemic level of supply of homes for sale across pretty much every category. So naturally, this puts upward pressure on real estate prices. And now it creates a market for these assignments and for people to potentially sell their interest in their contract for a premium. Now, let's talk a little bit about what an assignment is. In more layman terms, it's where you have a willing seller who agrees to sell their property to a willing buyer for a mutually agreed to price, typically a market price. And from when that deal is made to when the property completes, the buyer has the option to potentially assign the contract. So for example, today, Beverly, if I sold my home to you, mm-hmm. and the home didn't complete, let's say, for 3 or 4 months, and within that time frame, we saw some price appreciation take place in the market, which has really been commonplace for Vancouver sure. over the last 12 to 18 months. You have the option to potentially look to assign your interest in that contract or sell your contract for a premium. If the financial incentive is great enough, you then have the option of taking advantage of that. The notion of shadow flipping, from what I understand, is there are some agents in the market that are allegedly involved in these assignments, have a financial interest in the property, and are not making full disclosure. And I think that's where the potential issue could arise.
So shadow flipping in its simplest form, where there could be potential buyers that just keep bidding up the price, that's not illegal?
The whole notion of shadow flipping is new to us in terms of the reference. I've been a licensed agent in the market for over 11 years, and I've seen assignments take place all throughout my career. I've seen properties change hands before completion a couple of times. It's not uncommon when we see such tremendous price appreciation in a marketplace.
Right, but it's not illegal.
It's not illegal, to answer your question, correct?
Okay, so the BC government wants to, and has assigned an investigator to look into this. If it's not illegal, what is it potentially that they want to stop or look into or fix?
I think the concern around properties exchanging hands multiple times before it actually completes or transfers ownership at land titles is if there are gains in between, how is that being looked at from a tax perspective? Again, out of my area of expertise, but I think that is a concern for people right now in our marketplace.
So the person outside of taxes, the person that I guess loses or doesn't benefit is the owner of the home, because the owner of the home who's selling it doesn't realize that there's been these multiple assignments.
Correct. So
okay.
This can be prevented. This can be prevented, right? If an owner wants to ensure their property is not part of this assignment or flip process, they can put an explicit term in the contract that prevents this from taking place.
Okay, interesting. Oh, listen, well, Adil, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Up next on the